know, it's a great opportunity for us to bring fashion to San Francisco by us coming to New York. New York is obviously the American capital of fashion as we know it, but also from a global perspective as well. Our graduate students are designers, they're young designers, and we want to offer them the opportunity to show at that level. We came up with an idea for a magazine to build a home for collaboration, and it's called 180. And it's created a real environment for students to work together, fashion students, photography students, journalism students, advertising students, web design, new media students, and they put together, I think, a very, very beautiful publication.
One of the things that was key for me was also, just as a designer, was really to take control of your own identity as a designer and to collaborate with photography and film and have a real understanding of that. So one of the things that we built into the MFA program was photography and film. We encourage them to find their own collaborators in New York, find your own peers, find your own people that you can have that conversation with. So really, a lot of it's about trying to get them to think about their identity as a designer. And these are some of the, just some of the pages of the work that comes out of their sketchbooks. My job is to make sure these students are well equipped with navigation skills as well as old-fashioned skills such as pattern cutting, sewing, textile design, printing, whatever it might be.
The fundamental things that a fashion design person or a textile designer needs has not changed. A designer needs this kind of tangible skill set. They can cut a pattern, or they can drape, or they do know how to do embroidery, they do know how to do these things. When somebody can actually design an embroidery because they know how it works and they know how to do it, they're gonna have a much easier process through the production. I'm trying to teach somebody that can communicate with the technical person at a knitwear factory.
I think there's an enormous disrespect for technicians probably in the industry, and even the way they even talk about them. And I think, you know, and as a student myself, I always went on break at the same time as the technician because then it meant I would get more time. You know, I was really strategic in how much time, because I knew they were the people that were going to get me through those connections.
It means, you know, being able to work under pressure, speed, having the skills, hand skills, computer skills, and also having a point of view.
You need to research, and when students are applying for the program, I say, please don't over-edit, please don't send me slick computer drawings, because it just means you can use a program, that's fine, but can you think? And what are you interested in, and what makes you tick, and what makes you get out of bed in the morning? I think for me that's really important. I'm really involved in the recruiting, the interviewing, and then I work with them for 2 years solid. And I think I start to understand them as individuals more. One of the things that I see the most is to do with portfolio. The portfolios are so narrow, and so there's hardly any research, there's hardly any design development, there's too many computer, what I would call, and I never know what they're called, computer printout design lineups, where it's just filled in, and that doesn't tell me anything about how a student is going to develop. So it's mainly to do with their portfolios.
You know, any program on earth can do all that two-dimensionally, but it means nothing unless that person can do it to a 3D.
Often those students where you can see there's something there, but you know they've over-edited it because they've made it really slick, I email them personally and say, can you just photograph your sketchbook, all the mess in the middle, the messy bit that's called design development. Can you photograph that and email it to me? Because that's probably where the most interesting bit is.
For me, it's about having the respect for the craft and the art of what we do. They go through that whole process, and they really are part of everything from the casting, the looks, the fitting, the styling, the alterations, the whole thing. And, you know, they're at that point, they are dropping on the floor. And I just keep pushing them. It's good for them because that's going to happen in the industry, you know, and suddenly you are going to have to step your game up, and you are going to have to make that change because your director is going to say, actually, I don't really like that. Take that trim off and do this, or that kind of stuff. I think it's really an important thing. For me, it's two things. It's accountability to these young people that have spent a fortune on being educated, and most of them are on financial aid if they're in America. It's a huge debt that has to somehow be repaid, so they need to work. And I think that my second point of accountability is training these young people in the correct way to go and furnish the industry that I'm part of.
I feel a huge sense of responsibility to the students. I think one of the things I have is that when they're my student, they're not my friend. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I don't teach to be liked. I teach to do my job well. But we often end up being good friends when they leave and they come back and they're alumni and they help other students and it continues.